Hey guys, today I have an unfinished deck list. So the basic idea here is not that it's not going to be too complicated to play as a deck list. The main thing I'm looking for here is just to have a deck list that's easy to pick up and play if you're like a new player or you're not like that great at the game, we'll say. So I tried fitting in a bunch of simple combos and cards that essentially kind of play themselves. So for example, you open Fenrir, you just special summon Fenrir. Sometimes life can be that simple. And I mean, extra deck, not really finished yet. Main deck could use a little bit more fine tuning. We'll see what I think later. Like we could technically increase the amount of Fusion Destinies we're playing, and that would be okay. And interestingly enough, we also have Barricade Board Blocker. So what we can use Blocker for is we can send Discoliseum or Rates Off interchangeably for one another. And then we can add the other, well, whatever we send back to hand later and use it for a search on a later turn, which I think is kind of cool, at least to some extent. And we can probably fit in some more link monsters like, I don't know, maybe Apollosa, uh, IP potentially. I don't know how I feel about them right now, but we have a lot of extra deck space to mess around with. We could even throw in extra Zeus's. So idea is I want it to be beginner friendly, but then I realized, wait a second, isn't this entire list super expensive? Yes. Why? Yes, it is. But at least it should be fairly beginner friendly. So if we do like just a test hand, how this deck is supposed to be played is pretty simple, right? So draw 5 sample cards. So here in this hand, we would go starting with, because we have Unicorn, we would start with special summon Unicorn, and then Unicorn can then grab us a copy of Birth, which is great because we can then use Unicorn as link material for something later if we want, right? And then we have normal summon Lone Fire Blossom, and the target for this is going to be either Lily Brea or Mardell. Having already opened Lily Brea is not that bad because it's just going to be an extra body for like link plays mostly. But yeah, Lone Fire Blossom adds specials Mardell, which allows us to add Lily Brea. But in this case, since we already have one, I guess we can add second Lone Fire Blossom if we want for later next turn, because we don't really have that many good normal summons to like just, well, not that many of them to begin with, having only 6, right? Well, monsters that we would even want to consider normal summoning anyways. So yeah, we have that. And then we can go Lily Brea effect to equip Lone Fire Blossom, sending Lone Fire Blossom to add us a copy of Discoliseum, activate Discoliseum. Then that allows us to grab our Therion King Regulus. And then because we have Regulus, we can Regulus equip the Lily Brea after we link it off, or in this case it'll be Verte. And then we can go Verte after we summon Regulus to special summon Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer. And then that's kind of the play. We also technically have, if we wanted to, we could draw 2 with charge and add a second Lily Brea with the Mardell instead. That would also be an option. And we also have Therion Cross in hand, which we can just set and pass turn with, which is not bad. And the grand game on this gets pretty crazy, I suppose, to an extent. It gets a little bit wacky, I suppose, considering we have Endless Engine and Gyro System as well. So, yeah. The Therion cards, I'm not sure if they would be too hard for a new player to, like, understand, or figure out how to play. But, I mean, I'm hoping they can figure it out, because with the Therions in particular, and with how the cards are glowing yellow, right? I think it's somewhat hard to just misplay with the Therions, because, they're glowing yellow, they can't be normal summoned, so you just have to activate their effect to be special summon for the most part, and I think it should be relatively easy to pick up, hopefully. And that's kind of the idea. So with this one, it's not as straightforward. So with this hand, it's not as good, so we would do like Great Off to add either Fenrir or Unicorn, depending on what you're feeling, I suppose, but Unicorns in general, pretty decent. So we can do Unicorn, and then we can Special Summon Unicorn, add a Birth, then we can Planet Pathfinder to then add the Therion Discalcium, grab Regulus. And that's about all we can do at this turn. Not a whole lot, because we opened too many Pathfinders and we opened Dasher, which is a Garnet. So I guess the downside is that there are too many Garnets maybe in this deck list. But, you know, bad hands do happen anyways. So with this hand, all we can really do is Unicorn here. If we, well actually, if we normal summon the Crow, we can then make Barricade Borg to put the Bulline into the graveyard, so we can summon Regulus, and then we can summon back the Unicorn with the Birth. Yeah, so we can Birth it back, and then we're solid, right? And if we don't even want to retain the Unicorn, we could technically make this into a Verte instead as well. Which, I mean, either is fine, honestly, it's not that bad. This hand is completely unplayable. This hand is fine. Kinda interesting seeing what hands we open. Be nice to open like less Lily Braille to an extent, but yeah. Some hands just don't do it. Theosis is starting to look like potentially decent. I don't know. I have mixed feelings. Maybe we should just go back to the drawing board and scrap the Lone Fire Blossom and Planet Pathfinders altogether, maybe? Like, I'm starting to think that the Verte is not that good either, because maybe too many Garnets. But it should not be a hard deck to play by any means. It should be pretty simple in what it does. And if we just get access to this field spell, we can kind of just play, right? Like, even if I have just DD Crow plus Therion Discalcium, this actually gets places, which is pretty wild to think about. Well, potentially. So, yeah. I don't know. There might be a easier way to play Therion. It doesn't necessarily have to be too much better. Like, I know like Punk Therion exists, but I feel like all the Punk stuff would be a little bit too complicated. So going for the Lone Fire stuff, this would be a much easier combo to kind of do, right? And kind of figure out on your own. That's where I am headspace wise. So yeah, if you guys have any ideas for like a deck that would be suitable for a new player, let me know in the comments below and I might try my hand at that. Otherwise, suggestions to improve this list, either by making it like better or more beginner friendly, is appreciated. So yeah, that's all I got for you guys today. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.